Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva 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 Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva 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 Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva 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 Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva 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 Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva 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 Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari He Nath Narayana Vasudeva 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 Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari Narayana Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govinda Hare मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा 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 श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा नारायण वासुदेवा हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। निकुंज में बिराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में बिराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में बिराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे कुंज में बिराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे 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 श्याम मिलाते राधे राधे श्याम मिलाते राधे राधे श्याम मिलाते राधे राधे श्याम मिलाते कुंज में बिराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे 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 श्याम राधे राधे 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 घनश्याम राधे 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 श्याम मिलाते 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 कुंज में बिराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे 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 श्याम राधे राधे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे 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 निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे 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 घनश्याम राधे 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 श्याम मिला दे 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 कुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे 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 घनश्याम राधे 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 श्याम मिला दे 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 कुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे घनश्याम राधे राधे श्याम राधे राधे घनश्याम राधे 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 श्याम मिला दे 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 कुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे निकुंज में विराजे घनश्याम राधे राधे Let's start that high. No, it's fine. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole. Namah Shivaya, Jatadaraya Shiva Jatadaraya, Hare Hare Bole. Namah Shivaya, Jatadaraya Shiva Jatadaraya, Hare Hare Bole. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole. Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Bhuteshwaraya Shiva Bhuteshwaraya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Bhuteshwaraya Shiva Bhuteshwaraya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Sarveshwaraya Shiva Sarveshwaraya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Sarveshwaraya Shiva Sarveshwaraya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Someshwaraya Shiva Someshwaraya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Someshwaraya Shiva Someshwaraya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya, Hare Hare Bole Namah Shivaya. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevashishyate. Everyone together. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Welcome to Satsang, everyone. We'll start, as always, with one of our questions that comes in advance, and then open it up to any question that anyone here may have. Beautiful, lots of beautiful questions. What to do if you don't have a guru? You haven't been initiated by a guru. Will prayers and mantras work if they're not given by the guru? As I don't have a guru, what should I do? So first of all, it's important to realize that the relationship between you and you, the capital U, capital Y-U, or between you and God, it doesn't require an intermediary. There's no rule that without a guru, you cannot connect with God. God is the truth of who you are. Divinity is the truth of who you are. And so it would be an untruth of the truth of who you are to say that anything other than you is required in knowing the truth. If I need to know something that isn't who I am, so I need to know quantum physics, I need to know biology, I need to know medicine, I need to know a foreign language that isn't what I was born with. Well, I need someone to teach me. I can't just sit and meditate and suddenly have the skills that would make me a good surgeon, or sit and meditate and suddenly be able to speak Spanish. I would need someone to teach me. But when you're talking about you and God, you and truth, it doesn't require someone to teach you. Somehow you can't connect with you can't connect with God. That's what prayers are. Prayers are talking to God. Pujya Swamiji always says, when you talk to God, it's prayer. When God talks to you, it's meditation. So prayer is talking to God. And again, we don't need an intermediary for it. Mantras are sacred. Our scriptures are full of them. Choose any that touch your heart. The power of a devoted heart is much more important than the power of a perfectly recited mantra. So that's one face of the truth, you can say, one aspect of the truth. You don't need a guru. Spiritually, we're going into the truth of who we are. We're going to God. We've come into this world with everything that we need in order to be able to access us. Spirituality is much more of an undoing of that which is not true, an undoing of the ego, an undoing of ignorance. So that's one side of the truth. It's what you could call a theoretical truth, meaning it's true, and it's very rarely the actual on-the-ground reality, although it is true theoretically. And what I mean by that is the reason that most of us don't experience God, the reason that most of us don't experience the truth of who we are, is because our egos get in the way, our ignorance gets in the way, the games of the mind get in the way. And what the guru does, it's not that the guru brings God, or the guru somehow makes you pure enough to experience God. It's not that. It's that what the guru does is removes that which is blocking you from seeing the divine. The guru removes that which is blocking you from living in the truth. So, again, theoretically, do you need one? No. Because you're just going back to yourself. But if you're like most of us, when you sit down to meditate or you sit down to pray, there's more than just You, the divine, sitting here, and you, the seeker of that divine, sitting here. It's kind of a loud party, actually. There's an ego. There's all sorts of identities and roles and mind games and desires and fears and thoughts, and some of them are patterned and habitual. Some of them are totally random, like monkeys jumping around on branches. But there's a lot more people at this party than just me and truth, or me and God. And so what the guru does is the guru comes in and enables you to see through all of those other random voices, random bodies in that party into the truth. And that's why, even though theoretically you don't need one, in actuality, the vast majority of us do. There certainly are stories. There are stories of sages who attained enlightenment without a guru. You study the life of people like Paramahansa Ramakrishna, Raman Maharishi, sages, mystics who were so intoxicated with God, they just had an awakening. But there's a reason that 100 years later we're still talking about each of them. Because it's very rare. And so when you talk about prayers and mantras given by the guru compared to prayers and mantras not given by the guru serves much more than just a dispensary of prayers and mantras. The word guru literally means the one who removes that darkness of ignorance. It's not a darkness of the self. Who you are is light, is divinity, is purity. And I say that even though I've never met most of you. But I say that because that's true about every one of us. By sheer definition, you were born, you exist, you are here. That means, without a doubt, at the core of who you are is purity and light, consciousness, divinity. But how many of us actually live like that? I mean, can anyone actually raise their hand and say, yeah, I move through the world as light, as consciousness, as divinity? We'd love to. And on a spiritual path, many of us, we take vows. I'm going to, from now on, I will. And then the mind comes in. And then some fear comes in, and then some desire comes in. And then some old habit comes in. And then somebody does something that's really annoying or hurts us, or then there's some really good gossip, or something happens. And suddenly there we're lost. Lost back into role and story, drama, untruth, darkness. And so the guru's the one. It's not a one-time thing. It's not like the guru comes in, shows you the light, and then leaves. The guru's always there to keep showing the light. And so the prayers, the mantras given by the guru, it's not that they're qualitatively better than other mantras. They come from the same place. They're all pulled out of the scriptures. The gurus are not inventing mantras. They're pulling them out of the ancient tradition. They're pulling them out of the scriptures. But what they're doing is they're connecting to you and knowing what you need. one of the ways to think about it is, if you walk into a Western doctor, an allopathic doctor, 5 people walk into an allopathic doctor and say, I have a headache. Well, in most cases, that allopathic doctor is going to give all 5 of them an aspirin, or a Tylenol, or a paracetamol, or whatever that particular country dispenses for run-of-the-mill pain, and send them out. But if they went to an Ayurvedic doctor instead, it's not just that the Ayurvedic doctor would give them churn instead of a pill, but actually what the Ayurvedic doctor would do is by touching their pulse, by looking at their tongue, the Ayurvedic doctor would actually understand that although the symptom is the same, you may have a headache because you're dehydrated. You may have a headache because you've got too much pitta, too much heat in the body. You may have a headache due to stress. And 5 people, 1 symptom, 5 completely different reasons, and therefore 5 completely different treatments. And the guru operates much more like the Ayurvedic doctor, where the guru's gonna tap in to what you need. It's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. Oh. The guru's going to tap into what you need. What's your darkness? And give you the mantra, give you the teachings for your very specific internal reason, not just the symptom. It's not that you go and you say, oh, I'm restless, or oh, I'm stressed, or oh, my mind wanders, or oh, I'm angry, or oh, I'm this. The guru's going to tap into that. But what the guru also does is, as you move on your path, the ego is very insidious. And as we move on a spiritual path, although you'd think we would get less and less ego, the ego is not quite so eager to be done with so quickly. And so the ego understands, now we're on a spiritual path. Okay, so now instead of being the voice of fear and arrogance or desire or whatever I may be, now I'm going to be that inner voice. And the ego dresses itself like whatever it thinks you want to hear. So, you're on a spiritual path? Okay, well, the ego knows how to dress itself like that inner voice within you. And that ego is going to tell you, you're so much more enlightened than everyone else. You're so much better than everybody else. You're so much more advanced. You're so much more humble. You're so much more divine, right? But now it's going to say it very softly and quietly, right? Because that's how spiritual people talk. And if you're really committed to truth, it's quite dangerous. Because unless you have the ability to really cut through yourself with a very sharp knife, in the path, meditating, praying, doing yoga, doing our seva, who wouldn't want to feel that I'm less attached than everyone else, humbler than everyone else, moving forward faster than everyone else? Who wouldn't want to feel that? So it feels good. So the ego plays that game. The guru, of course, comes in and goes, bam! Not physically, usually. Pujya Swamiji tells stories of his guru slapping him 21 times in one day. And he was a kid. He was 9, 10, 11, 12. Most of the time it's not like that, though, but it's a slap of the ego. Right back into shape. I always say it's like being a lump of clay on a potter's wheel. That you get kind of spun around, and every time you get spun around, the guru whacks you. But ultimately, at the end of the day, something's been created out of that lump of clay. Or rather, if you were an artist, you'd say the truth of it has manifested itself, right? Real artists don't say, I made this. Real artists talk about liberating whatever was in the clay from the clay. So in the same way, the guru liberates the truth of who you are from that lump of clayness that most of us move around as. So if you don't have one, don't worry. Pray, do your mantra anyway. It'll get you there. But if you do have the opportunity to have one, it helps a lot. Because it helps to have someone there who's able to help clear that darkness for you. Helps to have someone come in and say, not truth. That's ego. And to just constantly be showing the light. Not the light of the guru, but the light of you. Showing you the light. So keep waiting. Do your prayers, do your mantra, do your yoga, do your puja, do your seva, do all of that until then. But keep that intention that the universe should send you a guru. So, before taking any of the other questions that came in advance, I'm happy if there are any questions here to take them. Okay, well, I'm going to take one more that's come in advance and give you another chance in a few minutes. I don't know the true meaning of love. I'm in a relationship and I want the best for her, but I sometimes end up arguing with her. Is arguing even a part of love? So no, arguing's not usually a part of love, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't coexist with love. And that's an important distinction. We don't argue because we love, but just because we argue doesn't mean we don't love. So never kid yourself that you're arguing because you love. You're arguing because, perhaps, you're attached to your own view of how things should be for yourself, for the other person in your life. You're attached to a certain way of being spoken to, being treated, having the world around you be. We argue because we don't know what else to do. We're at our wits' end. I have no other tools in my toolbox to handle this situation, so we argue. We argue for a lot of reasons. None of those reasons is love. But that doesn't mean that just because we argue, doesn't mean there isn't love. In a relationship, there's a lot of components to a relationship other than just love. Anybody who's ever been in love with someone, with whom it's just not going to work out knows. Right? You can love someone. Many of us have had this experience in our lives. It tends to be more frequent in our younger ages. You can love someone. That doesn't mean that you've got all of the right pieces in place for a relationship that's going to last throughout your lifetime. I remember when I was 15, falling in love with a boy from Panama. We were at summer camp. He was 17. I was 15. First love. Definitely not meant to be. He was not my soulmate, even though I thought he was my soulmate. When you're 15, it's, But that doesn't mean it wasn't love. Now, it's not the highest form of love. Most of us at 15 are not able to actually tap into the fullest expression of love within ourselves. But that's okay. It's still love. It's still beautiful. Doesn't mean it's going to work out. It lasted about 6 months. Okay. But I mention it because in a relationship, we have to realize if it's a relationship we want to make work, that there are components other than love. And one of the places we get stuck a lot is it would be so beautiful if that was all that mattered. And if we lived in caves or we lived in vacuums and we didn't have to make decisions and we didn't play roles in society and we didn't have other family members who we also cared about, it would be all that mattered. But our lives have all of these other components and our relationships have all these other components. And this is where it's really important because even though love is not the only thing in a relationship, it is the most important thing. There is nothing in a relationship more important than love. You can like the same type of food. You can have the same religion, same culture. Like your house decorated in exactly the same way. Like the bed made in exactly the same way. You can agree on every single thing in the world. But if there's not love, that relationship is not going to be something that fills you deeply. You'll get along. You'll be able to successfully cohabitate. But it's not going to fill you. It's not going to give you an experience of touching the divine through the other person. You need love for that. And the dilemma becomes a lot of times we choose the other things in our relationship as more important than love. And so we end up losing the love for the things that aren't as important. So we fight. We fight over things that aren't as important as love. And we may end up winning those. So maybe every time we fight over where to have dinner, I always win. But in the meantime, that love seems to be going out of our relationship. And maybe I've succeeded in convincing you to do your share of the housework. Maybe I've succeeded in convincing you to remember to come home with flowers and chocolates and never to forget my birthday and anniversaries. Maybe I've succeeded in getting you to do all the things I want you to do. But in the process of doing that, in the process of managing and modifying your behavior, I've squeezed the love dry. And we see this tragically in relationships. And so if you find that you're arguing, it doesn't mean there's not love, but what it means is you need to ask yourself, is whatever we're arguing about more important than experiencing love in this moment? Sometimes it is. Occasionally in the course of a lifetime relationship, there are issues that come up that really are worth having an argument over. There are things we feel very deeply, strongly about. Okay. Most of them aren't. There's a a beautiful story. I've heard it actually attributed to several different people, so I won't falsely attribute it to someone. We'll just say a very wise man who was asked later in his life, after being married for many, many decades, 50 years I think maybe. Someone said to him, so what's the secret of this wonderful relationship, the decades you've been married? And he said, well, when my wife and I got married, we made an agreement. And the agreement was that she would make all the little decisions, and I would make all the big decisions. And he said, and I'm very happy to tell you that in the course of 50 years, we've never had to make a big decision. So what it means is the guy was smart enough to realize over the course of 50 years that basically however she wanted it was just fine. That okay, he didn't need to make any decisions. There certainly may have been times in which he had preferences. And this does not mean subjugate yourself. I'm not talking about suppression or repression. I'm talking about a very conscious, courageous, strong choice that says love in my life is much more important than who does the dishes. Love in my life is much more important than whether we eat this type of food or that type of food, or whether the bedroom is immaculate or there's clothes on the bed and the couch. And that's a piece of free will that we've all been given. And this is true whether it's in a long-term love relationship or whether it's with the coworker on the cubicle next to you. We have a choice as we move through life to choose love. Or if not love, maybe you don't love the guy in the cubicle next to you, but at least to choose peace. Is what I'm about to fight over, is what I'm about to get frustrated over, really worth my peace? And there's no right answer. But what I found personally is there's very little that's worth sacrificing my peace over. There's very little that's actually worth arguing over. In a relationship, love is the most important. So just make sure as you're arguing, is this really important? And one of the beautiful techniques is come back together in love. Because when we argue, what ends up happening, there's a beautiful teaching that says, why is it that when you're really, really, really intimate, you whisper? If you've ever noticed that, right? When we're really intimate, we whisper. Across a dining table, we talk normally. We're yelling even if we're 2 feet away. We're fighting even we're 2 feet away. We're yelling. Why? Well, the teaching says because the farther apart our hearts get, the louder we have to talk for the other one to hear us. So when we're intimate, our hearts are very, very close. We can whisper and the other one hears us. But as our hearts get farther and farther apart, we have to yell. And so if you find yourself in an argument with someone you love, whether it's a romantic love, a family love, a best friend love, doesn't matter. Do whatever you need to do to bring those hearts close back together again. Take a 30-second no strike break and just look in each other's eyes. Take a 30-second no strike break and just touch each other. My dear, dear, dear friend, Bruce Lipton, who's a very, very, very famous scientist, but he's more than a scientist. He's a doctor of the soul, you could say. He was talking about how when he and his wife fight, which is very, very rare, but occasionally if there's ever something that comes up between them, that they just become silent. Because of course you can never convince anyone. He said they just become silent and they sit next to each other. But they sit in such a way that they make sure that their legs are touching. Now when you're fighting, obviously you don't want to be too close. You're not all getting lovey-dovey and legs all over each other and stuff, but they just sit next to each other that ever so slightly. Their thighs are just, the side of them, just touching each other, sitting on the couch. And he said, we just sit there. Because that touch of the loved one, if you allow yourself to get calm and peaceful enough, and you're not telling yourself, don't be mad, don't be mad, you're just being present in the moment. Present with your breath, present with the touch. And he said eventually, doesn't take very long. As you reconnect energetically, what you realize is nothing worth fighting over. So you come back together in love. If there are any questions here, I'm happy to take them. Great. Yes. Okay.
You mentioned that in order to reach closer to the self, to the essence, that we need to get rid of the ego, or not get rid of the ego, but remove the layers that tell you, oh, this is how you are, this is how you are. But in my opinion, I've seen that in Indian history, we have been a lot like this. We have been very calm and non-violent, and that has made people take advantage of us, through colonialism and through other things. I think that the ego is very important. It can be used as a vehicle for you to achieve your goals. If you have personal goals in life, you need some sort of identity that you create to achieve them. So.
Great. Okay. First of all, getting free of your ego does not make you a doormat. And so when he says, here in India, we're all very calm and peaceful, and so we keep getting taken advantage of, there is a difference between being free of your ego and having a strategy of life that sometimes is very conducive, sometimes is not so conducive. These are two completely different things. Being free of the ego does not mean I become a doormat. Look at the Bhagavad Gita. Okay? So Bhagavan Krishna is standing there in the middle of a battlefield, giving us in 700 verses basically every single thing you need to know about life, regardless of your religion, your culture, your age, your gender, your socioeconomic status, totally irrelevant. And we have enough mystics and philosophers and geniuses of every religion throughout the ages who have said the Bhagavad Gita is the book. So it's not just me sitting here saying it. Standing in that battlefield, Lord Krishna talks about the importance of breaking free from the ego, breaking free from ignorance. And at the same time, he's telling Arjuna, fight that battle and fight it well. So if what you were saying is true, Arjuna would become a doormat, right? Arjuna would just kind of lie there on the battlefield and let Duryodhana and his army do whatever they want because, well, I've become egoless. And interestingly enough, on a deep level, the Gita begins with that. In the opening chapter, Arjun says, forget it. I'm not fighting. I'm going to go off to the jungles and meditate. I don't want this karma. It doesn't matter. Let them keep the land. It's not worth it. Sounds very egoless, right? And what Lord Krishna tells him is basically, not so fast. Since when? Since when did you become the giver and the taker of life? Since when did you become the one who decides who lives and who dies? Really? Really, you, Arjun? You get to decide who lives and who dies. And he begins there and makes it acutely obvious, ironically, that ignorance of thinking actually is the ego. That actually it's the ignorance that's clouding Arjun's vision that's making him think, I'm the one who decides what's going to happen. I'm the one making this decision. I'm the one who's going to either take their lives or take someone else's life. And Lord Krishna says to him basically, oh really? Now you're in charge. Not so fast. You're here to do a duty. You've got a dharma. Your highest goal is to wake up. So when you say, well, what if you've got a personal goal? Isn't the ego important? Well, according to our scriptures, our highest goal of life is to wake up. And we can't wake up until we're free of the ego. So if I want to say, well, actually, I've got a goal that means more to me than waking up. I have a goal that's more important to me than knowing the truth of who I am, than experiencing the divinity of who I am. Okay, you've got free will. You can come back again. You can keep coming back. The universe is very patient. As many lifetimes as you want to come back with goals that are more important to you than waking up, you can do that. Hold on to your ego. Fulfill the goal. And then you get to come back and do it all over again. Which is fine. It's not good or bad. It's just the law of the universe. Either you get it now, or you get to come back and get it next time. And so the question is, what's your goal that's higher than waking up? What's your goal that's higher than experiencing the truth of who you are? Now, that's your duty. You don't play roles. Arjun was playing the role of warrior. This is again what Lord Krishna showed him. The truth of who he is soul. Like our truth, each of us, soul, spirit, divinity. And the role he had to play? Warrior. Your highest truth? Soul. The role you have to play? I don't know. But when you find it, then you'll know what your duty is. You'll know what your dharma is, your individual dharma. But your highest goal is to wake up. And the ego is actually that which blocks you. It blocks you from waking up, and it blocks you from even knowing what your real dharma is. So the ego is going to choose goals based on culture, based on society, based on indoctrination. Okay, question. You go to a grocery store. You're standing in line to check out. Now, I've actually never been to a grocery store in India, so I don't know if they do it here, but I know in America at a grocery store, when you're in line to check out, right before you get to the checkout counter, they have all of these things that are for sort of impulse buys. So you're in line, and what do they have? They have the magazines that, of course, have covers of, lose 50 pounds in a week, or, manifest all the money that you ever wanted, learn in 3 minutes, or chocolate bars, or whatever it is, but these sort of impulse buys. And there's a whole psychology behind what people are going to buy as they stand in line. Do they do that in shopping? Okay. They do it everywhere. Universal? All right. Has anyone here ever bought something standing in line, waiting to check out, that you weren't planning on buying, but that once it was right in front of you, you bought? Anybody ever bought anything that you see an ad for online? So you're reading an article online, you're doing something online, suddenly an ad pops up. You weren't planning on buying it, but you see an ad, you click on it, the next thing you know that you've bought it. Has anybody done that? Good. Now, I make the show of hands because what we realize is we all do these things. Not my goal, wasn't my plan, but marketing, the marketing of our society that has no interest in my best interest, and everything, their only interest is in selling their product. But they know exactly how to manipulate me. And what do? They convince me that I actually really need to know whether the royal couple had a fight this week. That I really need a chocolate bar. Or I really need that thing that they advertise online, whatever it may be. And I mention that because the world is feeding you goals that have nothing to do with the truth of who you are. And everything to do with a society and a culture that needs people like you to buy into the system so the system can perpetuate itself. We get fed it in our media, we get fed it in advertising, we get fed it by every single person in society who has bought into it, who needs you to also buy into it because it validates my life. And we go through our life choosing personal goals like we choose what we need to buy at the shopping center because it's what's right in front of me. It's what someone else has decided. And that happens only as long, standing in line at the grocery store, fully conscious, practicing mindfulness, chanting my mantra, I am not going to worry about a fight that the royal couple may have had this week. I'm not going to need that chocolate bar. And in the same way, when you are conscious, fully conscious of your life, you're going to know what role to play. You're going to know what your dharma is, but you're going to know it from inside, not because a society from outside has said, be like this, have that, do this. And that's the only place that that decision should come from. So let that goal be to wake up and let everything else follow.